Hey everyone, it's Brenda back again with another episode of Three Uniques. I'm really excited to introduce you to Mildred Talabi. Hey Mildred, how are you doing today?
Hi, Brenda. Really good, thank you.
It's so,
Feeling Christmassy, yeah.
I know it's so great to have you here. Yeah, my house is a little Christmassy. There you go, there's the Christmas. So it's awesome to have you here. So Mildred is out of Kent, England, and she is a LinkedIn visibility coach, which I want to explore a little bit more because I'm super excited to hear more about that. And then she's also a speaker and an author. So Mildred, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, yeah, awesome. So, yeah, LinkedIn visibility coaching. So, essentially, I work with women entrepreneurs and I help them to get visible on LinkedIn so that they can build their brand, grow their business, and increase their income. Because LinkedIn as a platform has such great potential, and really, it's a lot of the hang-ups that people have, especially women, is that whole idea of putting yourself out there, of being visible, of being seen. So I coach my clients through that journey of, all right, let's get you out there, let's share your authentic self, but also let's learn they get to learn some of the technical aspects of LinkedIn and how to use the platform correctly. But we do a lot of work on the mindset and the fears that hold us back from being as visible as we know we need to be.
Amazing. So your background's in communications and PR. So
Yeah.
when did you go into the field of LinkedIn visibility coach? Like when did you make that switch?
So I actually trained as a journalist and worked in the media for a while before I moved into PR and communications. But I've always had a side hustle. I've always had a business on the side that I did. And one of the longest established business I did was I was doing CVs and LinkedIn profile makeovers for mid to senior level professionals. So essentially helping them get jobs. And then later on, I was helping business people do their profiles on LinkedIn. So I realized that for my own business, LinkedIn was absolutely great for building my brand, but also it was the number one place that I used to get a lot of clients from, and I was able, and from there, I was able to just kind of learn a lot about LinkedIn that I was able to share with people moving forward. So how I transitioned was realizing that actually there's a great way for me to combine my skills of journalism, PR, with what I've learned about LinkedIn and what I've used to grow my own business and put the two together. And I realized that one area that people lacked awareness of just how important it is being visible. And that's what PR essentially is about,
Sure.
making you visible to your target audience. And then LinkedIn as a platform is a great place to do that visibility. So based on my own success through LinkedIn, in terms of getting the business results, and based on what I saw was happening and the fact that LinkedIn as a platform still has so much potential that is untapped, I thought this is a great way to really help people, help women to take advantage of this platform. And so this year, just before COVID hit, actually, I rebranded, set up as a LinkedIn visibility coach, and the timing in that sense couldn't have been more perfect because people started coming online because we had no choice because we were all locked down. It's like, I don't know how to use LinkedIn. Can you help? I know I need to now start networking online, but I don't know where to start, sort of. And so that's where I step in and walk them through that journey.
Amazing. Yeah. And that's how I got attracted and connected to you, is that I think there were other women or men that I was following. And then I saw you keep popping up on my feed because people were liking your content. And you do every day, you post like really great content. You have LinkedIn Live. So people can hear, live interviews that you're doing with other women and helping them promote their personal brand. Is there something that holds people back? Like throughout all of your work and connecting with women, doing your training sessions or your interviews, is there like a thread that just connects all of it that, what is that piece that, is preventing someone from posting content right now?
That's a really interesting question, because actually this very week on LinkedIn, I did a post about this, and it was about the 7 common barriers that stop people from being visible on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And all of those 7 barriers were actually rooted in fear. So there's the fear of being too salesy. There's the fear of showing up too much. There's the fear of what will other people think of me. There's the fear of appearing boastful. So I listed, like, that's the common thread, because I talk to a lot of women about their business and about LinkedIn and being visible. And I kept hearing the same thing again and again. it's that being afraid of being visible in itself, you know.
Right.
It is a major thing for a lot of people, because you're putting yourself out there. And essentially, anytime you put yourself out there on any platform, you're essentially opening yourself up to judgment, you know?
Yeah.
And oh, so we think in our heads, but actually, people don't care that much
No.
about you. They don't, you know?
Well, and I was gonna say, everyone's got their own stuff going on. Like, I love the fact, like, you're a mom, where you talked about it, like, it's like with the days before Christmas, we're going through COVID, kids are at home, as I can hear in the background. It's awesome, right?
I'm so sorry.
Nobody really cares. And that's the thing. It's like, we think that there's this massive scorecard or billboard where someone's keeping track of like how we're showing up in the world. And I love the point about what you said about, where I'm appearing too salesy. It's like, well, if you're not putting yourself out there and you're not selling, who's going to know about your company and your brand and the services you have to offer? Like, someone else is going to be selling, what you've got. So you've got your chance to get out there and put it out to the world. So yeah, I think it's incredible that you're doing this work. And especially for women, because I think in some cases, I always hear that, when there's a job posting up for something, women will look for every single bullet point to make sure that's like, oh, it says 8-year experience. I only have 6.5, so I shouldn't apply. Versus a man, in some cases, would be like, oh, I only have 2 years experience, and they're going to apply.
I'm gonna apply it.
Like, you see those stats and those analysis reports, and I'm like, oh my gosh, come on, ladies, we got to get out there. So that's
absolutely
awesome.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're here to share your 3 uniques with us. I'm super jazzed. Let's hear them.
Okay, so my 3 uniques are actually belief, focus, and maximizer. Right.
Nice.
These are things that I don't know if you've heard of the book Strengths Finder.
Absolutely.
It actually put the words into what I've always known but never knew how to express, until I did the test, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what it is, about this fits me and what I do so well. So it's that whole, the 3 strengths of belief, focus, and maximize are really the unique things that drive what I do and how I turn up in life, so
amazing.
Yeah.
So let's hear about belief.
Okay, so belief is essentially is having faith in something. Like, if I need a buy-in, I need to have a buy-in to whatever it is I'm doing. And if I believe in something, I'm gonna run with it, and I'm gonna run with it all the way.
Nice.
But it's kind of like how that's manifested in my life is always kind of, I've always started my own thing. I've always like, oh, I can do this. All right, let's do it. Because I have, when it's me doing it, I've got that full belief in what I'm doing, and I'm running with it all the way. And in jobs, it was always a case of I've never had a manager who's needed to micromanage me, because essentially whatever role I was in, it's like, I'm taking over this role, I'm making it my own, because if I can buy into it, then I can run with it and deliver above and beyond the expectations of the role. So that's kind of how it's always manifested in my life, in terms of that whole, I need that belief to plug into, and on a personal level, on a faith level as well. Like, my faith is a huge part of who I am. I'm a Christian, and my faith in Jesus is like a big part of what I do and what drives my work and my personality. So it's that the belief, it threads everything together in my life, So yeah, I would say that's one of my 3 uniques for sure.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And then your second unique.
So the second one, I've probably done them now in the order backwards from what I said, but the second one is focus, so being able to just cut out all distractions. People talk a lot about the whole shiny object syndrome of kind of, you do this and you do that. But I kind of have the opposite. Like, I zone in. And if I'm really zoned into something and I'm focusing, you could be starting World War III around me. And it's like, I'm not even going to notice that, because I'm in my zone, of focus. So it's focus in whatever it is, again, leading on to the beliefs and whatever it is that I'm working on. So when I used to be in a media and I used to do magazines, it's like having that focus of, okay, we need to get this deadline. We need to meet this deadline. We need to get this production out. So it's kind of like everything, this is what we're doing in this time, in this season, to accomplish this goal. So focus is very key on and eliminating distractions and not chasing this. And I've chased lots of things in my life. It's not always kind of like everything's clear cut, but in terms of when I'm focused on something, it's like one thing at a time, and I'm gonna see that through as much as possible, you know. So that's been a strength.
Do you find with your business, like with you know, being a LinkedIn visibility coach, because obviously there's multiple platforms. I know a lot of people got, you know, into TikTok this year, even from a business standpoint. Like I'm seeing psychiatrists on TikTok and dermatologists on TikTok, and you know, and I think that's amazing that they're talking about skincare and mental health on TikTok. But for you, like, you know, is that something that you stress with your clients around having focus, you know, because there's so many social media channels. And if you're starting up your business today, it's like, you know, having all these different types of messages going out on, you know, can be overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a criteria I have with my private coaching clients. I say to them, in the period that we're working together, you have to absolutely focus either completely or the vast majority of your energy and efforts on LinkedIn and LinkedIn alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I specify this is like, it's so hard to kind of grow things or really invest in something and see the results from it if you're divided, if
Right.
your focus is divided. So for the season, while we work together, I say to them, we focus on LinkedIn, we focus on you mastering this platform, you creating a community, engaging with them, building your presence, being visible here and only here.
Right.
If after that, once that's working well, then you can go on to, if you want to do that with Instagram, again, take a period of time and focus. So it's really that I really recommend to get the best results out of anything, whether you want to lose weight, you know, you can't just go in here and do this diet and that diet. Pick one, focus on it for a long enough period of time, and you'll start to see the results. So I think focus is a real strength that sometimes doesn't get acknowledged as much as it should, because just focusing on one thing allows you to put your energy towards that thing. And especially for social media, it will drive you crazy if you try and be on everywhere with your business. It's just not possible.
Well,
You know?
and I totally agree with you, because even when I started 3 Uniques this summer, I was like, okay, I know I want to be on Instagram. I know I want to be on LinkedIn, because I love being on LinkedIn, and I've seen so much attraction and followership on LinkedIn over this past year. And then I would put the videos on YouTube, because I'm doing video, so it should just naturally go on YouTube. But then I was thinking, okay, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat. I'm like, okay, I'm like getting overwhelmed just trying to do it all. And I think as a new startup, it's like, until you get the revenue coming in, you know, maybe where you can outsource some of that work, it's a lot on a new entrepreneur, a new business owner, to try and manage all those platforms, the comments, if you want to engage with the people on there and try and sell to them, and get your branding message across. It's a lot to try and maintain. So I agree with the focus piece. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And so your third unique.
So the third one is maximizer. Now this one, I really love the strengths finder giving me the term for it, because maximizer is essentially that you bring the best out of people. You know, so there's a difference between some people are really good at taking people from, let's say, bad to good, you know, and maximizer is really good at taking people from good to great. So it's that second stage of the journey that I realize it's like, that's really where my strength is. I can recognize potential in people, and I can maximize that potential and help them to achieve it. So like, kind of like my friends and people around me, they know, like, if you have a dream or some kind of idea, if you don't want it to happen, then yeah, keep it away from Mildred. But as soon as you tell Mildred, like, it's like, okay, let's make this. Exactly, we're gonna make it happen, because it's just, if I see it, I hear it, and I feel it, it's like, okay, this is how we can make this happen. It's really taking someone to the fullest of their potential, and I get such pleasure from that. Like, it lights me up on the inside when I'm able to do that kind of work with people. So yeah, it's a big strength that I enjoy.
So you and I have that in common. My purpose statement that I have, like, for myself and for my business, is to maximize the human potential. And, you know, and it comes from Maximizer as well, because I think that everyone has potential. And I come across with some of my clients that, you know, they may, you know, be feeling like some type of fear, as we talked about earlier, imposter syndrome. And it's just like, no, everybody has the potential to get to where they want to go. And, you know, sometimes we get fantasy-like, and we may think, hey, you know what, I want to go up here. And it's like, well, let's go to the first, let's go to the first level, and and see that potential, and then start maximizing it from there. But I completely agree with you. It's a great strength to have, and especially in the field that you're in, where you're there to really pump people up and get them out there, and and facing their fears and putting themselves out there on social media. So it's awesome. So I have a couple more questions for you, and I think this one is going to be so relevant now that I know about your three uniques. So, failure is obviously apparent, right? Like when we're starting up a business, you've led businesses, you've coached people on how to start up their business. So failure is going to be part of it, right? And I've always sort of learned about the fail fast, get up, try again. So do you have, in your business or in your experience, do you have a favorite failure? Like something that, just didn't work for you, and but it taught you a lot, and you look back on it as being like a favorite failure?
Okay, I love that question, because I actually have a motto that I tell my kids, that I bring my kids up on. It's we say there are no failures in life, only lessons.
Right.
So I kind of I'm trying to instill in them. They're still young, they're 4 and 6, so I'm trying to instill with them this idea that you don't fail if you learn from it.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you're going through. So I've had so many businesses that's failed, like in terms of things that I've done, I've started up, and in the past, I actually used to have a raw foods business with my husband, where, way back in the years, but at the time, our vision was to be like the healthy equivalent of McDonald's, so now raw food is trendy and people eat raw, as in uncooked food and all the health benefits that come with it. But at the time we were doing it, it wasn't as well known. So we were planning to grow that into something, but that filtered out along the way. Just kind of, I've had career plans that's failed. I started a magazine. My first publication, I was 19 in university. I started an alternative teen magazine called Deeper, and I published one issue with like £2,000 of my student loan. And that was my first and last edition,
Yeah.
And, yeah, so that was it. So I think that one's probably my favorite failure, because I had no clue about anything to do with advertising, for example. I didn't know how magazines were sustained. I just thought we print it, and we printed loads. My parents' basement got like thousands of copies there somewhere.
What an awesome story, though. Like just of fortitude and like entrepreneurialism and drive, and actually just everything that you've talked about: belief, focus, and maximizer. So that's awesome. It's a great example, though, right? And and obviously you stayed with like in that field, right? Like as far as maybe you weren't necessarily publishing your own magazine, but you went into like communications, PR, and into journalism. So it didn't discourage you that much. So that's awesome.
No, it didn't. I learned an early business lesson. Advertising works. Someone has to pay for something.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. And I guess along that lines, the next question I have for you is, if I was able to give you a billboard and you could put it anywhere in the world and put anything on it, what would it say?
Ooh, that's such a good question. There's so much. I guess one of the things, and I got this from a book. There's a book called An Enemy Called Average. Excellent read, really good book. But that's one of my, I guess, my life principles is don't be average. It's really don't be average. We were created to be so much more than that. And if I can put a message anywhere to anybody, it would be don't be average. Don't settle for average. There's so much more in you, and the world needs that thing that's inside of you. So it's a long billboard message. That's what it would be.
No, it's okay. It's your billboard. You can. And where would you put it? Where's like the best place for you to put it?
Oh God, where can people see it all the time? Well, when I used to be in London, it'll probably be somewhere in the West End, which has probably the equivalent of New York Times Square.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Piccadilly, right? Piccadilly.
Yeah, exactly.
That
kind of place, which has got heavy footfall, where loads of people can see and hopefully absorb it. And I will put it in youth centers, in youth. Because I used to work in a youth center for some years, actually, in their communications department. But young people, again, they have such potential that if it's not nurtured from an early age, they grow up thinking that they're average, and they're so not.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. So I always say at the end of the interview, but I'm going to say it now because I think that links in really nicely to what you said about don't be average, and you know, that everyone is unique in the world, and then like, which is sort of one of the impetus is like to starting 3 Uniques. But I always say there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Somebody needs what you've got.
Absolutely.
Like we're meant to be connected as a human race, and we're meant to like find people that have those unique abilities that we need for whatever purpose we need it for, our business, our life, love, connection, relationships. And then we also have something that's unique, right? That somebody else needs on the planet. Like there wouldn't be this many people, you know, on the planet if it was just like, oh, we would be settled with having like a few people at average. You know, we wouldn't grow up populations, right? We want people around us to surround ourselves and make us feel unique, and for us to give our uniques to other people. So I love that.
Yeah.
Mildred, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I'm so glad that we were able to connect and do this interview today. And I think there's so much about what you're doing and also what my listeners are looking at on 3 Uniques. So, you know, hopefully people will look you up and, you know, seize the opportunity as far as like getting your guidance about being on LinkedIn, because I'm a huge advocate for it as well. Wish you the best of the holiday season with your family, and stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brenda. Lovely talking to you. And I love the concept of 3 Uniques that you have here. So keep on changing the world. I love it.
You too. Take care. Thank you.
Right.
And everyone for listening, you know, remember to stay tuned into 3 Uniques and do what Mildred's doing. She's getting out there, she's sharing it, and she's also promoting other people to get out there and share on LinkedIn. Take care, everybody. Bye, Mildred.
Bye-bye.